Couple things that are interesting that I want to cover today. So, here's the first thing. I don't know what happened with whoever Blunt Girly is in the Exotical channel, but the Exotical girl is like going in on her every single day, which is kind of funny, but it's also like, I don't know what that girl did, but those two people clearly have drama. It's dramedy over there. But she made a good point, and I want to touch on it. I don't know who the Blunt Girlie is. I don't like. I've just never heard of her. Maybe I should go look it up. But also, I just feel like I got enough like petty drama content creators, so probably not. But she actually made a point about trying. She was like diagnosing this like idea of wealth or whatever, and it's also something I wanted to talk a little bit more about because Kenya has covered it, and the way that she said it just made so much sense. Here's the premise of the argument. So many people who are actually extremely poor and have grown up poor. So I want to give an example here. Like Cardi B is such a good example to me. Well, actually, Cardi B and Future together are good examples to me because they're from like different cultural groups, right? They're from different like ethnic groups, technically. But I didn't even know that opened. But they are like they both grew up like socioeconomically low. Like they didn't have any money or resources or like anything. If you saw my other video about literacy, this is kind of the point that I was getting to. Like when you can't read and your school is bad and all of that shit comes together, it makes it so you're not able to like socially integrate into society. So, like, where else could you go? It's like even Cardi B has all this money now, and it took her so long to even get an invite to the Met Gala. Because even Anna Wintour thought she was ghetto. But now she just has like a fuck ton of money, but it doesn't really change her character. Like, she's the same person. Right? I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting because she's coming out with new music. Like, what is she going to talk about on this album? The same thing she talked about in the last album, or something else? And this is really interesting because I heard Kenya call this out. And if you listen to Matriarch, Tina Knowles' book, it makes a little bit of sense. But y'all do realize that like Beyonce has like been cosplaying as like urban and poor for a very long time. I don't know. I am just not like this hardcore Beyonce stan, so I couldn't really tell you, but I've heard a couple people refer to Beyonce as a nerd. I would agree with that. I think that she is very knowledgeable about anything that is like music history related. Like she literally has vaults of like probably old Tina Turner tapes that she like studies to like fucking do anything. I don't know. She's like legitimately like a music nerd. But she's not like a ghetto hood rat. Like she's not Cardi B in any way. Except like go listen to some of like Beyonce's kind of like raps and shit, and you're like, oh, they're both from the same place, except they're not. Not even by a long shot. Like stylists at Miss Tina's salon were taking in $15,000 a month. Like they weren't living the same life, right? Anyway, but that's a whole. We'll backtrack to social class. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole for too long. I do though want to talk about the thing that the Exotical girl said, which I think is interesting. So she was pointing out how this girl, Blunt Girly, is basically talking about how she's like, I'm dating millionaires and I'm, what is it? She's talking about assortative mating. So she's like, I'm dating wealthy men. Like that's supposed to, it's almost like her pictures are trying to show that she's like doing this thing. Like this is her dating wealthy men. This is what it looks like. She's got pictures of sushi. She's got pictures of hair products on the floor. And I feel like this is something I saw too. But I don't think I see it now because I feel like everyone is kind of doing like makeup, skincare, you know, how do you say, like natural face, clean girl aesthetic. This is like the whole vibe, except like maybe the point being is like no one understands what the Whole Foods mom is. It's not just like a character archetype, it's like a lifestyle. And you don't need to like indicate any like signifiers to live that life because you're already living it. And I think it is interesting that this girl feels the need to like project what she believes are images of whatever that looks like. And what I would say to that is maybe like do some cross-checking for yourself. And this is where actually this channel might come in handy for you. I do have not very many, but I have a couple videos that are about beauty and fashion. Go check those out. But you could just follow real models. You do know that, right? Like, you don't have to follow Instagram thoughts. You could legitimately just follow people with like IMG contracts. There are some who look like me. There are some who look like Lupita Nyong'o. There are some who look more like Rihanna. Like, there's a whole cluster. Like, I like following what's her name, like Ismi, whatever, the girl, the black model who's in Italy right now. She's got a YouTube channel. You could just really follow her, see what she's actually doing, because she's getting paid real dollars and cents. Or the other girl, like Anak. I guess people thought Anak was making like Instagram change or something. You do know she owns like 17 properties in like Malibu, 3 in Africa. Like, her model money has gone pretty far. I'm not saying she's making Gigi Hadid money, but her model dollars are real. She's not like posting sushi on the floor. So, but then another thing, like, we have real socialites who are like non-white and who are like black. And I would just say, if you're here, the two I would recommend are Lori Harvey and oh my god, Jasmine Tukes and Segan. I think that those are great. I think Segan is more like, she's like one step removed from being a girl with a job, but she's like now a girl who had a job but now just has sponsorships. But she's gotten like every sponsorship at this point in the last like year and a half. I mean, she has some major sponsorships. Maybe go check that out for yourself. I've definitely covered Segan on this channel. Or Lori Harvey. Like, I saw Lori posted something yesterday. It was like her with Justine Skye. Covered her on this channel before. Ryan Destiny and Amina Kamudi something. She's basically this Muslim girl who makes shoes, but specifically she makes Rihanna shoes for like all the major events. So like every Met Gala red carpet that Rihanna does, she always wears this girl's shoes. I don't know why. That is Cinnabon sauce, if you're wondering what that is. I legitimately had a Cinnabon, so I gotta go wash it off. Anyway, but they posted something yesterday which I thought was interesting, and I was like, I don't know if I want to cover this. Maybe I should, because if like, who else is gonna cover the like colored girl fashion space? I don't know, because there's nobody else. I do think it does seriously bother me, the like the wannabes, which it does seem like the Exotical girl is calling out whoever Blunt Girly is for being a wannabe. But I actually wanted to, maybe this is a rant on just a couple topics that have happened so far. So many things happened and I couldn't like address all of them at one time. I didn't post it yet, but there's another video that, and now maybe I'll just link it. It's a video basically about the black male problem. So the premise of the idea today that I need to like flesh out, and maybe I'll do this tomorrow, is that urbanism and poverty in the black community specifically is about an echo chamber. So it's like, if you have some information that comes from outside of that community, that could be a good piece of information, a useful piece of information, something that might actually benefit your life in some way. If you share that inside the echo chamber, you're going to get negative feedback because nobody there uses that information in any way to apply it in any way for it to work in any way. And it never has worked for anyone there. So they're going to probably feel like that's a bad idea. So if everyone around you is doing things and saying things that are giving you negative feedback, you are going to be under the impression that you are wrong, right? Like, you need to change, and you probably aren't the problem. It's really hard if you are actually in a toxic community to understand that the reason that certain things aren't happening is because of your environment. Specifically. To go on though, I also saw that 19 Keys posted something where he was basically talking about how when people use YNs, so YNs is this like urban term for like young niggas or whatever. I don't know if I've never used the term, but I've definitely talked about drill rap, and YNs make drill rap for sure. That equates. But he was basically saying, he used that term, it's disrespectful. And I was like, I don't really know. Like, I don't know. I think that calling drill rappers YNs is appropriate. I feel like they want to be addressed that way. They are living a life that follows suit that way. So, like, what what else would you call them? Would you call them intellectuals? Like, no. You call them, like, YNs because they just, like, are. And he was, like, talking about, here's another thing that just blows my mind. When people are talking about mentorship that they seek and they are not 18, ask yourself, like, why don't they go listen to that Michael Jackson song that's like, Man in the Mirror, okay? Why don't you be the person that you want to see, sir? They've 19 Keys is talking about, we need more mentors in the Black community. Where's all the male mentors? There's no movies about blah blah blah. Why don't you make the movie then? You have a script, something, an idea, anything? That's the thing that just gets on my nerves. It's like, do you think we sat around waiting? No. Like, Issa Rae literally started on YouTube, and now she's got, like, a Netflix contract. Kelly Stamps is still on YouTube. Like, none of us got contracts or sponsorship for shit. We still make stuff. It's just like, what is he gonna wait for 1,000 years? Like, oh yeah, 5 million years later, somebody else. Who, where? All the YNs are, like, killing each other, so there's not gonna be any to write scripts. Like, I swear. I think that's ridiculous. It's, like, actually crazy. But then, so to go on, so there's the video with those, like, conservative athletes or whatever who are basically critiquing the murder that happened, I think it was in Chicago, around July 4th. Now, I kind of already unpacked this, but I'm shocked they're still talking about it. So since they are still talking about it, there's a way that this relates to this, like, perception of, like, it's not even elegance. It's not a perception of elegance. It's more like, here's a way to put it. Somebody commented, was it yesterday or the day before? This is on when I talked about Candace Owens and those feminists, that conversation. Somebody literally said, like, you are so well-spoken, and I don't think you are code switching. Yeah, like, I don't have to code switch because, like, I am not urban nor am I suburban. Some people refer to it as, like, a California accent. I don't believe it's that either. I think it's a Bay Area specific thing where the whole environment is so cross-cultural and there's so many different things. It's almost like you could have an intellectual debate with somebody using urban slang, and if you know, you get it. That's why I'm saying, like, people think that the hyphy movement is, like, funny, and they think it's about, like, retardation, but it was started by Stanford students. So you see, like, the irony there. If you know, and it makes sense. But if you don't know, it just looks like urban chatter, right? But some things aren't for you. The point, though, is, like, these guys are it seems like they're so confused. They're like, we don't know what to do. There's no solution. Well, obviously there is a solution. Like, the kids that are committing those crimes and who are in those neighborhoods kind of need to be out of the neighborhoods. Like, they call it the ghetto and the projects because it's a project. It's like a social project, right? Like, redlining, the point of redlining was to, like, keep the Black people out, like, over there. So then they would never be able to come in because they're out. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't be in if you're physically out. If you're in, you'd have to be in. So how can you sit there and watch people be in a project environment that's just full of urban poverty and seriously question why they are behaving as though why they would currently be behaving as though they were somewhere else? Like where you are, like where I am. No, they're not going to behave like this because they don't know how. They don't know what that looks like. There's nothing to pull from. A big part of, like, us continuing to have these conversations kind of publicly, not really publicly, but between us, makes it so that we can share the conversation with hopefully them, so that they could see it and understand for themselves, like, oh my God, I don't have to be that. But this would have to be some internal work. Like, you couldn't force someone to do that, and you couldn't physically remove them and put them somewhere else that would cause them to change their own, like, worldview. It's internal work that people have to do. It's kind of a meta conversation. But it is related to the Black women conversation, specifically because I think Black women specifically have to run away. And I think that, so if you go back to that video, there was a guy in the comments talking about how he was basically trying to refer to me as being secular, and that being a bad general idea for most people. In response to that, basically secular is it means this like individuality, like individual autonomy. The whole point of religiosity, like, you know, religion, is to have like collective group morality. Secularism is literally the opposite of that, because it's like you making decisions for yourself. Some people equate secularism with nihilism, and I don't think that that's necessarily the same. Nihilism is all about personal gratification, and a lot of people don't even understand what real gratification is, so they might think that watching like porn or something, or like engaging in gluttony or I don't know, what else could you do that would be like, it's like they're wasting their life and time and health and money, gambling, some things like that, in this pursuit of like what seems like temporary joy or fulfillment. And that's a mask for some other literal personal issue that they have. So I wouldn't even call that enjoyment. My personal secular solutions, and I've said this a billion times, they work for Black women in America. And everybody keeps having an issue every time I provide a tangible solution with, like, you know, steps and data. Now I'm the one who's so like against the grain. The grain ain't working. This is like the whole point. The system that works for the other groups does not work for us, because we have a very large population, the male population in our group, who are just down bad. They're just way down bad. And the like few who are not down bad, they are secular to the point of nihilism. Don't go down that path, right? So collectively for the group, secular solutions like work and really pursuing your own hobbies and passions is a functional solution for our group. The intersectionality of it all is complex, because yes, we're women, but I think that we're Black first, and that is really critical. If you haven't seen it, just go watch the other video where I'm explaining why Black women are luxury items. We just don't have the same structural setup in society as the other women do. And if you look at it in a certain, like, if you have enough privilege basically to understand the mind frame and story that I set up, then you will understand how you could use that to your advantage. That's kind of the point. There was more I wanted to say about that, specifically this like urban trap, and like what the idea is, why young men and young women can't escape the urban trap, and almost like the project of it all. But we'll save that for another day. But it's a really interesting concept. Like, stay with me, because it's good. Hello, my name is Olivia. Welcome to my channel. I like to sit around at coffee shops or at the beach and talk shit. I talk about women's issues, feminism, relationships, but mostly being a Black woman in America and how to survive that. Politically, I'm moderate, even though that seems hard for people to believe. I'm very conservative on issues like immigration, very liberal on other issues like feminism and abortion. Thanks for being here.